Hi there, thank you so much for being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I do shiny baubles, focusing on shadows and chroma. We'll start with the outline, then the underdrawing, and then the rich colour stage, stroke detail. Be sure to watch it right through till the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Doing the outline freehand, so always work from a centre point. Now you can use a grid if you want, or whatever method, but I have a centre point on the board and a centre point on my reference. Right, from the centre point you use imaginary angles, but I'm using actually the area of the shape as well. It's 6 by 5 inches. So we look at the negative space, the space around the objects and that shape, and that's helping you to get the actual feel of it. So I'm doing it very loosely. I'm holding the pencil really far from the tip, keeping loose marks, using vertical planes to find the position, one object against the other, and also horizontal planes. But first just sketching it all out very loosely, because it all can be moved. It's just a matter of a bit of a guesswork to start with, and then once you've got it in loosely, then you can start firming it up a bit. So it's just one shape against the other, just relaxing, looking at the shapes around objects like I mentioned. That will help you to find the position of it, and then just really enjoy the freedom of doing freehand. Once I'm happy with where the position is, I'm using then the kneadable eraser to reshape things and then draw the line more accurately. Worth taking your time just to map out these specific areas as well. It just saves a lot of planning later on. Keeping everything nice and simple, just using these colours, and I'll mix them as I go along. It's just a basic sort of underdrawing. Just using a Faber-Castell kneadable eraser just to take the excess grey off there, so it's nice and cleaner for the colours then. Now why I do an underdrawing is to actually get basic form in there. So what I'm doing is altering the actual outline, changing it as I go along, so I'm still sort of redrawing, but it's getting a sort of more of a feel for what you're actually doing. So it's just basically creating a roadmap, so when I do put the richer colours on, it's not so much guesswork then. So each stage makes the next stage easier. So I'm applying the colours very gently, hardly pressing at all on the pencil. Reason being is it makes it so it's easier then to move around and to change. Just applying flat colour, it's just a matter of getting the shapes right. It's all this is for is to change the outline and put a little bit of form in there. And also what you're doing as well is adding a bit of pigment to the pastel mat, which acts as a vehicle then. So when you put the pencils on the next stage, it flows a lot more easier and it's easier to apply. So like I say, each stage makes the next stage easier. Keeping things nice and simple for the background there then. So I'm using dark green and cold red for like a shadow colour, complementary colours together with a bit of brown, just to roughly get these marks in to where things will be. And it's just planning the way. That's like I mentioned, it's just planning the way for when you start putting all those amazing rich colours in. Adding white down first, which helps then when you glaze over the top, that whiteness comes through the colour and it makes it sort of shine a bit. But again, it's just a preparation, but that's the idea what I'll be doing later in this video. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. It's well worth spending a bit of time just making sure you get that sort of feel right. It makes it a lot easier on the next stage for sure. Just using the white down first, then I'll just glaze over the top then with just basic colours, and that white will shine through the colours. It's just giving me a location of where all these marks will be, and it all can be changed if it needed to be, but it's just roughly getting that feel right. And I'm speeding through this underdrawing stage and outline, so it gives me more time to discuss how I achieve the rich colours and details later on in this video. I love this stage as well because it's a chance to really be loose and free flowing, and it helps with the energy as well, because even at this stage as you're building up this sort of feeling of energy and space, so by being loose and spontaneous it's creating the feeling that you're wanting in the finished result. And here you can see again I'm just using white just to plan it all out, and then just glaze over with some basic colours just to help locate where the position is, but the white will help and that will shine through, and all the rich colours will be put on later on in this video, as you'll see. Just going through the colours now for the rich colour stage. These are the flesh tints from Caran. Some more rich colours with the lemon yellow as well, and black. We're putting black in the background, I think we'll need it. And there's the other colours we use for the underdrawing with the light ultramarine blue there as well. Now this stage is all about getting the values right and the chroma. Now I've actually added a title there to the top left, rich colour stroke details, because I'll be adding a little bit of detail here and there, but the majority of the subtle details will be done at the end of this video. So basically it's just about getting the darkest darks in before I start doing the bauble. Then that would help then to find the correct value and chroma. So it's a good idea to get a darkest darks done first, and then you've got something to compare with then. Actually the rich colour stage is like a blocking stage, so I'm just putting colour down, but more accurate colour, more richer, but then I'll subtle it all up as I go along. But it's basically just working on different areas and trying to create a whole. So I don't want to put loads of detail in one part and details in another part. Then when you look at the picture it's all loads of little bits of details. That's how it feels. But what I want it to feel like is it's actually there, and you're not really focusing on anything, only the space and how it feels and the energy around it. So that's what I'm looking at, keeping that feeling of a wholesomeness, the whole thing working as one. This sort of study you've just got to be patient, because there's a lot going off and there's a lot to achieve, but you have to build it up slowly but surely. I'm just working on the values and the chroma, and then just moving on to a different area and just trying to balance it all. And it's very hard to get it straight away. You usually find that it all happens towards the end once you've got everything in. Now this part of the bauble, there's a lost edge as well, which it makes the bauble look an awkward shape, which is unusual, because some of the bauble is dark, as the same darkness as the background, so it's like a lost edge. So you just got to be aware of these things. Just paint what you see, that's what I always say. So I'm placing lighter colours down first and then just slowly darkening them as I go along. Now I'm using these flesh colour tints from Caran, different varieties, 5% and 10%. And that really helps with the sort of the shine of it as well, because they're quite rich in pigment, and then when you glaze over the top, that sort of pigment comes through, you know, it really glistens. So it's got to experiment really with what you've got in your kit. Just slowing it down now so you can see how I apply the black. So I don't just put black on its own, I always mix something with it, because it looks a bit dead when you just use black. So I'm adding that sort of burnt sienna and a bit of blue there, which creates that's a grey colour anyway. It just subtles the black up. Bit of a tip here, when you put in those really bright chroma colours in, add that lemon yellow, and then I'll go over them with the red, and that lemon yellow will shine through and glisten through. Now a great colour combination to get gold is lemon yellow and burnt sienna. So that's what I've done here, and then just keep working the colours over the top. Just like to take this opportunity to thank all my patrons for their wonderful support every month. Can't thank you enough, it really means the world to me. If you're considering joining me on Patreon and would like the benefit of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please check the link in the description below. If you would like to see this study all in real time, video and audio, so you can hear me and see me moment by moment. It's now available on my Patreon as an Xmas special. So be sure to check out the link in the description below after you've seen the video for further details. Now, to get the warm dark shadows here, I'm putting the black down to get the value, then I'm going over with burnt sienna and green, which is a complementary colour, and because it's burnt sienna has got more red in it, so green with red, and that creates subtle shadows and atmosphere. Then I use that a lot when I do my landscapes, the burnt sienna and green together. To achieve that glint, I'm using Faber-Castell white, then the lemon yellow, and then going over with the burnt sienna and a bit of brown and blue. Now, I've used a bit of black here because it reflected sort of the feel of it from the background, adding that with the mix on this bauble here, but then going over again with burnt sienna just to warm it up a little bit. Now, there's glitter on this bauble, so I've used called a white grey pencil. It's 110 if I remember the number right. If you can see here, I'm just keep turning the pencil to find a new edge, because I don't work with the point of the pencil, I work on the edge of the pencil because I sharpen it with a knife. I'm just putting a bit more finesse into the shape. I'm not trying to do exactly the same, it's my interpretation at the end of the day. But then I'm going around it with the red then, so I'm just using that white grey first, getting the feel of that snowflake, and then just filling in around it with the red. It's all sort of flat colour at the moment. All the glittery little bits and that will be put on later on in this video. Right, so I'm using black again, then adding that warm red. Sometimes you have to use black with pastels to get that sort of depth. Now I'm using that Caran flesh colour tint first, then going over with the warm red and then the green. So I'm desaturating the red with the green, but adding that little bit of black to give it that sort of depth, but also adding colour on with the black. But mainly using green and red, which will create natural shadows, but I just need that little bit of black just to give it that more depth. Sometimes I use brown and blue, but it didn't work in this instance. Sometimes it doesn't. You have to be aware of that, and you know that Carbotella black is quite a nice black as well. It's not too dense, it's quite alive, it feels natural shadows, but I'll still go over it with colour as well. Now this is a glittery sort of piece underneath, so I'm using that grey white again. If you would like to know more how to create natural shadows using complementary colours, I have got a free class for you. The link is in the description below for more details. Now this area I'm using olive green, and then I'm using lime green to actually get the placement of the pine needles, rather than using white, because with it being a colder colour, then you add warm colour over the top, it seems to create this sort of nice atmosphere, so that's why I've used that combination. Getting it in rough to start with, so the white in first with this one, then lemon yellow, and then burnt sienna to create gold. So I'm just getting all that sort of colour down first, like blocking in. Now I'm going over now with the olive green with the burnt sienna, and then I'll go over again with the subtleties. So this is how you build your layers up. You've got to be really spontaneous, and I don't try and get every detail the same, it's just my interpretation. It comes eventually together at the end. You just got to be prepared to just keep putting these sort of colours down, and it not quite look right to start with, but eventually with persevering it does come together in the end. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, because this would help the channel to grow. Now over the blocking now, I'm going over then with the lime green pencil and getting it sort of more sort of accurate, and just keep sort of subtling it up with the burnt sienna and create sort of subtleties of shadow here and there, and use brown. So I'm using burnt sienna and brown, so I'm doing the same here on the top, Same sort of principle really. A little bit of a jump cut there because you've seen all that happening below what I explained early on. Same sort of principle with the top bit as well, but what I'm doing here now is going round balancing things. So what I'm doing is looking at the whole picture and then just seeing and comparing one shade against the other, and then just keep changing it up. Now I'm looking at the temperature, the value, the chroma and the edges. So some edges are softer, some are sharper, some places are really shiny like here, and this is a close-up of it. So I'm using the Faber-Castell white just to give it that sort of real crisp brightness. Now these lights need to be really bright, so I'm using the Rembrandt white there. So you put your pigment down first and then just move it around then with a pencil. So I'm using the Faber-Castell white just to move that pigment around. That's the easiest way to do it. And then just keep going around, making the glow more. Around this area here I'm using a warm-ish bluish colour with that lemon yellow to create my own greens as well, and then using burnt sienna, which I do a lot in my landscapes, so it's the same sort of principle. So basically what it is just going around tidying things up, trying to get that balance, trying to get a feeling like there's space around the objects and that feeling of Christmassy lights and that gold thread here. I used the white first, then the lemon yellow, and then glazed over again with burnt sienna, and then just putting a few dots here and there just for that sort of glittery sort of feel to it, and then parting the line there a little bit. So you just got to keep playing really till it starts to look right. And this corner here I've slowed it down so you can see I'm subtling up now, just putting that little bit of lime green but varying the pressure, so less pressure and it's sort of mid-tony, more pressure and it highlights it more. And then just go over with the burnt sienna, same sort of principle, different pressure, different feel to it. Thank you so much for watching the video right till the end. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It would mean a lot to me because this would help the channel to grow. It's been a fascinating one to do because you're getting those deep colours which helps things to pop, and trying to get the chroma, which is not always easy really with pastels. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If there's any questions at all, please leave a message in the comment section below this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But in the meantime, if you want to see any more of my work, please check out this video here. Take care, bye.